I've been having a lot of stuff going on in my life.
Liz Johnston and her boyfriend Brice just had a baby, but things might not be as perfect as they seem.
Kind of like just really think about it, kind of know what you're getting into.
On the surface, Liz and Brice look super excited about becoming parents, but is that just a facade they're putting on? What's really going on behind the scenes? The Johnstons family's first grandkid is finally here. Liz gave birth to a beautiful baby on November 3rd. It's a girl and her name is Layton Drew Bolden, and it seems like the whole family is completely over the moon about her, including her parents Liz and Brice, and there really shouldn't be anything wrong with that. I mean, the birth of the baby is definitely something to be celebrated, and Layton is Liz and Brice's first baby, so the whole situation has to be even more exciting for them because of that. But with what we saw go down on the last season of 7 Little Johnstons, I can't help but wonder if that's actually the whole story. The thing is, at the end of that season, it looked like Liz and Brice were having relationship problems, and the whole situation actually seemed pretty serious. At first, they moved in together, and the relationship was finally moving forward, but then it all turned sour when things just weren't working between them. At the end there, it looked like they might even be considering breaking up, and obviously we know now that they didn't actually break up, but even so, their relationship definitely wasn't in the best place. It seemed like they had a lot to sort through and a lot of problems to resolve, and the next thing we know, they're having a baby together. I just can't help but wonder what happened there, and people over on Reddit have been wondering this exact same thing. There's one theory in particular that's been standing out. According to this theory, having a baby was actually Liz's way of making Brice stay in the relationship with her because of how things got left off at the end of last season. Some people were theorizing that maybe Brice wanted to break up with Liz, but maybe Liz didn't actually want the relationship to end, and her way of making sure that it wouldn't end, according to this theory, was to become pregnant with Brice's baby. That way he would have to abandon his plans to leave her. He would have to stay with her and help care for the baby. Essentially, some people have been saying that by having the baby, Liz actually trapped Brice in a relationship with her. And I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Obviously, we don't actually know the whole story of what happened between them, so at the end of the day, any scenario is possible, at least until the next season airs and we hopefully get a look at how things actually went. But in the meantime, we just have the theories to work with, and a lot of people have also been pointing out the problems with this particular one. The main problem is that the whole theory relies on this idea of a woman trapping a man in a relationship by becoming pregnant. A lot of people have been pointing out that this is actually a harmful, misogynistic stereotype. The basic truth is it takes 2 people to conceive a baby. At the end of the day, if Brice hadn't wanted a baby, he could have done something to prevent the pregnancy. But then again, maybe he didn't realize that he should be doing something. Basically, the theory assumes that Brice wouldn't usually need to worry about birth control because Liz would have been on the pill. He would have been used to her being the one taking care of this side of things. And in that scenario, Liz could have just gone off the pill and not told him about it. He would have had no idea that they were essentially trying for a baby, not until it was too late and Liz was actually pregnant. Obviously, this is just a theory. We don't actually have any evidence that this is what happened between them, but the reality is it just wouldn't be such a foolproof plan from Liz to do this, because at the end of the day, she's the one who's pregnant and can't actually get out of having a baby. If Brice had wanted to break up with her, he could still have done that even though she was pregnant. True, it would have made him look pretty bad breaking up with his pregnant girlfriend, but that doesn't change the fact that he could have done it, and that would have left Liz as a single mother. Of course, she would have her family helping her with the baby, but it would have still been a really difficult situation for her, and one that she never wanted for herself. The risk for Liz in that plan seems just a little too big. And then there's the fact that Brice looks just absolutely ecstatic about having a baby. He and Liz only announced that they were expecting at the end of September. And in the announcement photo, Brice just looks happy, not upset or like he's regretting his life choices. And obviously it's just a photo. You could say that it might not show how he truly feels. Maybe he just smiled for the camera for all we know. But then there are photos from after little Layton was born, and in those, there's absolutely no doubt that he's happy about his and Liz's baby. Since the announcement, there has hasn't been a single indication that Brice might be anything but happy about becoming a dad. So it just seems pretty wild to assume anything else. But that still doesn't change the fact that we saw Liz and Brice have relationship problems at the end of last season. And even if we dismiss this one theory, there still has to be an explanation for what is going on, because having a baby in the middle of a relationship crisis just doesn't seem like a good idea. But I actually think the explanation could be pretty simple. Maybe they just thought having a baby would solve all of their problems. You can really see it pretty much everywhere. Sometimes when a couple is going through a difficult patch, they'll decide to make a big and important change, like having a baby. And change like that means that their daily lives will just completely transform. And it's easy to think that this will solve whatever problem the couple might be going through. And the thing is, occasionally this might actually work, but most of the time, if there's a problem between the two people, having a baby won't do anything to solve it. It will just make the problem worse. I just hope that this isn't actually the case for Liz and Brice, but there's a good chance it might not be, because there's actually another easier explanation. We just have to remember that 7 Little Johnstons is a reality TV show. It does follow the real lives of the family, including Liz and Brice, but it's also made as dramatic as possible. Many of the conflicts we see on screen are always going to be pretty exaggerated. It could be that the actual conflict between Liz and Brice was never that serious to begin with. They moved in together, and that was obviously going to take some getting used to. But it's completely possible that it was just a couple of small things that they needed to compromise on, and then it all got played up on the show to make the story more dramatic. In reality, there might not have been any huge crisis going on in their relationship. And in that context, having a baby might not have been such a terrible idea after all. At the end of the day, we really don't know anything about the situation. It's even possible that moving in together made them fall even more in love with each other. And maybe at that point, they actually just decided to have a baby because it felt like the right thing to do. But in any case, it will be extremely interesting to see what actually happened when the next season comes out. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was a good idea for Liz and Brice to have a baby now? What do you think happened between them? Let me know in the comments below.